Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monique and I am the face, the owner, the creator behind Chicago Style Code, the channel you're tuned into right now. If you followed me on Instagram, then you would know that I actually did this video yesterday on day 2 of Vlogmas, but there were some technical difficulties which I won't go into. So I'm having to re-film this for day 3. So I'm also going to do another video right behind this. So you're going to see me in literally the same outfit for 2 days in a row. Tonight's topic is going to be things to not do when you're opening a boutique or business. Even though most of this is going to be geared towards opening a boutique, you can apply these guidelines to really any kind of business. I'm also going to say a disclaimer here before we get started. Just because you might be really good in a particular industry, business, field, specialty, does not mean that those skills are going to transfer over to your opening of a business. Entrepreneurship is another beast within itself, and if you are not disciplined, if you are not dedicated, it can be a real challenge. You have to think of this journey in entrepreneurship as a relationship, more so a marriage, where you're going to be committed to. You're going to make this vow to be committed to this through the end of it. You know, through thick or thin, because you're going to have it, whether you like it anymore or not. You're going to fall in love with it and you're going to fall out of love with it, but you have to go into it just like a marriage. You're going to show up each and every day, and I do mean each and every day. And that's one of the guidelines that we'll go over, is showing up every day. Okay. Also, please note that several of these, if not all of these, I have been guilty of. Charge me accordingly. I've also learned from these things, which is why I want to pass this along to you. And also, as a side note, any of these things that I'm going over, I'll be more than happy to make a separate video individually on these topics where I can take time to break things down step by step. And if you feel like you need a little more hands-on, I am definitely here for consultations. Please feel free to reach out and contact me. My email address is chicagostylecult@gmail.com, and I'll make sure to leave that in the description box below. You can also follow me on Instagram at Chicago Style Cult. I own a resale shop as well, which you see some of my inventory right behind me, and that is on Instagram at Lay Revival House. I'll link that below. And if you wouldn't mind, if you really want to be a part of the Culture Cutie fam, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit like, and if it's good, comment and share below. What did you think of the video? Any topics that you want me to cover next, and any questions that you might have on what we're going to discuss. So with that being said, let's jump right in. So number one, the first thing of what you should not do when you're opening a boutique or business is do not start without a plan. There's an adage that goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is very real, people. That is very real. I am guilty of this one. I opened a boutique back in early 2018, and I closed in late 2018, within the same year, because I literally went into it without a plan. I figured, well, I've run a store several times over for 2 decades or more, multiple stores. I can do this with my eyes closed. What I didn't take the time to realize was that, yes, I could do the operations. I can be in the trenches and run any retail store out there. Owning that retail store is another beast. Again, entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. Your plan needs to include operations, your daily operations, pricing strategy, return policies. You need a website. You need contact info. You need business cards. You need emergency contacts. You need backup plans if something doesn't go right the first time. What are you going to do if your POS goes down? What's the next thing? What do you have to keep your business going while you try to figure out how to get the POS system up? What are you going to do during that time? You got customers and they're still trying to purchase. and you also need an address. And all of these things need to be, if not in a formal business plan, you definitely should have it in some type of operating manual, on your laptop, um, in a notebook or something. It needs to be somewhere where you can easily refer to it, and always check back on it routinely to ensure that you are up to standard and you're doing what you set out to do, or if something needs to be tweaked. So that's number one. Make sure you have a plan. Number two, do not open your business without a marketing strategy or marketing budget. This is huge. I did this. I went in without a marketing strategy. And that's pathetic because I went to school for marketing. However, this is what I did because I thought, well, I've run stores multiple times. I can do this. No, no, and no. No, you cannot do this. Marketing needs to be in your budget monthly, just as your rent is, just as any other bills, your utilities, everything that you have to pay out monthly, your marketing budget needs to be in that. And marketing includes your advertising, your public relations, your social media, your Google placement, your Yelp, all of that. Everything that you can think of is how you're going to get your business out to the masses. That's a part of marketing. A huge misconception is that advertising is marketing. No, advertising falls under the marketing umbrella, but advertising is not marketing. In the simplest form, marketing is the avenue that you're going to use to get your business to the people. Basically, how do your people, your customers, your clients like to receive their information about business? Is it on social media platforms? Is it in the newspaper? Is it on TV? Is it on radio? Is it through events? Is it through direct mail? Is it through email? How are you going to get them their information? That's what marketing is. You need to have a budget. I mean, just like for those of you who pay your tithes at church, carve that out too. And again, I can discuss that in a separate video. I love talking about marketing and marketing strategies and all that kind of stuff. But yes, do not open your doors, start your website, your online business without a marketing budget or strategy. Number three, do not open your business without insurance. Just like you need insurance to drive and own your car, you can't drive that car without insurance. Do not open your business without insurance. You need at least a minimum of $1 million policy. Why is that important, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that. Insurance is important in case you have any type of accident or setback that's beyond your control. What if your location burned down? What if you lost all of your inventory? What if it flooded out? What if, ding, 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 from 2020, there was rioting and loots, and rioters came and busted all your windows out, took all of your merchandise? How are you going to replace all of this stuff? And how are you going to make money while your place of business is down? That's where your insurance comes into play. Think of it as if you were in an accident in your car, your insurance will 9 times out of 10 provide enough money for you to go and rent a car or at least reimburse you. And it would probably pay for a portion or if not all of your repairs for your car. Or maybe it'll just cash you out and give you the price of the value of what your car was worth if it was totaled out, and you can take that check and go and get you a new car. That's what your insurance does for your business. If anything like that happens, you're covered. So that's why this summer, when all of these riots and looting were happening, you would see business owners literally on TV crying because they didn't know how they were going to pay for it. 9 times out of 10, they probably did not have business insurance, because if you have it, you know, okay, the business insurance is going to come and they're going to reimburse me. They're going to do their due diligence, and you have to write the claim, file the claim rather. They have to do the investigation and all that good stuff. And then from that point, they will decide, okay, this is what we're going to send you and this is how much. And you can keep on going. All of that is covered in there. Oh, and another side note, make sure that you're paying your taxes to your state, because when you pay your state taxes, you're going to pay a portion of that to the employment office. And if you have to have downtime, guess what? Your people can file for unemployment and still be getting paid while you are closed. Take care of your people. When you are paying that in quarterly or yearly, that's what that goes to. A portion of that goes to your unemployment insurance for your people. These things are important. I think we've all learned why this year. Again, another topic that I can talk about. Number 4, do not open your business, whether it's digital online or in a tangible storefront or office. Do not open it without a set schedule, and stick to that set schedule. It's almost a tongue twister. I was very guilty of this. I would come when I wanted to come, close when I wanted to come, and it was a disaster. It literally blew up. And not only myself, but my peers were too. But that was because I was leading the way. So they felt like if she's not there and taking it seriously, why should I be there and taking it seriously? So that's kind of what happened with that. And I would have, and it's so pathetic, like I hate to even think about it, but I guess I had to go through that process to learn the hard way of how to do things properly. But I would have several people that would come back, because I was in the bottom of a condo building in uptown Chicago, and their condos were upstairs, so they have to come downstairs and they have to pass by my store, and they would say, oh my God, you have these beautiful things, we love what you have, but nobody's ever here. What are your hours? When are you here? I want to come shop. I saw this in the window, I saw that in the back. And it was just terrible. I could have made great money had I actually brought my Rudy Tooty to work. So have a schedule, stick to it, and when you make that schedule, make it something that's realistic for you. I know you might want to cover, certain specified hours to compete with other stores, to compete with other brands and all that kind of stuff, but let's just be realistic about this. If you know you are not an early morning person, don't set your store up to open at 8 o'clock in the morning. Open up at 10, open up at 11, 12. What works for you that's realistic, where okay, I can put that amount of time into my business. I can do that. Until you feel like maybe you're ready to open up at that time. Or you might not ever get to that point where you can say, I want to have the same or similar hours as the next business. That's where your website comes into place. So what you want to do is make sure your website is up and going, and that people are able to still support you, shop from you, book your services, even when you're not open. That's the beauty of a website. How do I know? I went through that too. Matter of fact, I'm in the process of actually redoing my website for my store, for my resale shop. Okay, next, number 5, do not open your store with everything in your name. For crying out loud, form this under an LLC where it's at least not in your name, and protect your neck and your personal belongings, your personal life. So if anything happens, and let me tell you, you're going to be sued. Somebody's going to sue you, or another business is going to sue you. Matter of fact, you're not even in business unless you get sued. That's just a fact. Like, the longer you are, the more you grow in scale, you're going to get sued. Anybody in big business will tell you that it happens. Some people are just looking for a reason to come up. They will literally try to come into your location just to try to slip and fall so they can sue you and get some money. So with that being said, again, put this in an LLC, so when they do sue, they are suing the business and not you per se, and not literally taking the shirt off of your back, because they will do it. That's just how people are. That's human nature. That also plays back into number 3. Have you some insurance? Remember that $1 million policy? And I'm saying $1 million is the minimum, because depending on what you have in your location, or what your inventory looks like, or what the model of your business is, you might need more than $1 million. Just saying. And you can, sky's the limit of how much you want to purchase. However, minimum $1 million should be that. And another thing, if you're looking to get a physical location, a storefront, a brick and mortar office, usually commercial locations want you to list the building owner as a rider on that insurance policy. So just so you know, be don't be surprised or alarmed if they're saying in your lease that they have to be listed in that too, because let me tell you, if something happens, they don't want to have to, use their insurance for it. It's kind of smart when you think about it. It's your store. You're in there every day. You're doing stuff. Who knows why it burned down? We weren't there. So that should really probably should fall on you. So just so you can have an idea of what the mindset of commercial building owners, your landlords, are. Okay. All right. Number 6, do not buy a ton of inventory to start your business. Don't. It's not worth it. Number 1, if you were to buy a ton of inventory and it didn't sell, what are you going to do with that? What? I mean, obviously you can mark it down, but then you're cutting into your profits. And sometimes marking it down isn't enough. Sometimes people just don't want what you tried to sell, and there's no guarantee that you can sell it to the next business and they'll take it for wholesale, whatever you want them to sell it for, because maybe they just don't want it, or maybe they'll tell you, well, my client base doesn't take this either. So then what? And just so you know, most vendors do not take returns. They just don't. Like, once it's out the door and once it's over to you, that's it. If it is damaged, you usually have a time period, like a week or so, maybe a little bit longer depending on the vendor, to alert them to some damaged materials. And even then, you still might not get your money back. They might give you a store credit, or they might exchange it out. And if they exchange it out, they may exchange it for the same thing. You're not guaranteed to get it exchanged out for something that you think might actually work. So be very mindful of ordering your supplies or your inventory, because you don't want to be stuck with a ton. Start off small, even and with a space too. Start off with a small space, but with your inventory or your supply, start off small and see if that really works. Hopefully you can order more as time go along, but start off small so you can get to know what works for your particular client base and what doesn't. The worst thing in the world is to get stuck with a ton of stuff and nobody wants it. You got to be able to pivot quickly and move. That's what 2020 was all about, being able to adjust very quickly, pivoting on a drop of a dime and still keeping your business going. And going into 2021, we all need to be operating on a lean basis. So if you don't have to order a ton of inventory, don't order a ton of inventory. And I'll probably go and do a video just on inventory alone and how to audit your store and your business and all that good stuff. All right. And the last thing is number 7, which I kind of touched upon, and number 6, do not get a large space. Listen, a couple of reasons behind that. One, we are still in a pandemic, a global pandemic, and we're probably going to be here for a little while. So we might as well get nice and comfortable with each other, meaning get you a nice little bitty space. And you're going to describe that as intimate and cozy. People love it. How do I know? I've worked in retail forever, folks. They want to hear the words cozy and intimate. What is small? What is too small? Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're just a one-person operation and you're a service base, you might only need like 150, 200 square feet. You just need a space for an office and to put some chairs on the other side of your desk and to meet people, right? If you're doing a retail store, I would say 350 square feet is probably about the smallest you should go, because you want to get a little inventory in there, a little stand or desk to serve as your cash wrap, and that's pretty much it. You don't have to worry about a fitting room, because right now most places aren't allowing you to try on anyway, and you want to be safe too. People are really particular about purchases right now. They don't want something that they just saw someone else try on, and then you're kind of stuck with that. So if you don't have a fitting room, that might be for the best right now, But yeah, I would say 350 square feet to 400 square feet would be the smallest I would go for a retail space. Again, operate very lean. And within that space, that smaller size space, this is where you want to say people can make appointments to come in. Give them a true boutique feel, a true service based feel, but for the boutique, make it all about them. And when they come in, you can have, nice beverages, champagne, wine, coffee, water, whatever you want, because really it's just going to be you and either them, or, maybe they brought a friend or a family member or something like that. I know most places are operating on only a percentage of what they would normally operate on. Most places have a limit capped on the amount of people they can have in at the same time. So trust me when I say this is the time to go lean. This is the time to go lean. Think Sheryl Sandberg. Lean in. Lean, like all the way in, until we get over this hump of this pandemic and see. And you know what? While we're talking about it, you can always go back and get a larger. If you feel like you have that much demand in that space, it's just too small for you on down the road, always renegotiate. Look for a larger space. You can always do that. If you're in a strip mall, you might be able to move down a couple of doors, within your lease term, and get that larger space if that space just proves to be too small. Or maybe you outgrew it. Or if you're in a mall storefront, this is a great time to get space, because businesses are closing down left and right, unfortunately, but don't let that deter you. You can do this. Again, back to number one, go in with a plan. And what you can do is get a temporary lease, and you determine how long you want to be in that lease. They'll tell you like the guidelines, like we don't do a minimum of a month, or we don't do a minimum of a year, or so forth and so on. It varies from location to location. But yeah, this is a great time to go in and really negotiate what you want for a space. And if you need negotiating tips and helps, I am pretty good in that. So again, feel free to reach out to me. I love helping out. I love to see new entrepreneurs get started or help someone get back on their course. I'm all about that. And the last thing I'm going to say is kind of piggybacking off of the do not open everything in your name. When you get your minimum LLC, start thinking and putting yourself in the mindset of building your business credit. What you're going to aim for is to get you what is known as a Dun and Bradstreet number. Basically, that's a business social security number. And this is how you will go in and be able to use things in your business names or purchase things on credit in your business name. So when you see, sometimes you see people that own businesses and they say, oh, that's the company car, or that's the company apartment, or this is how they put it under their company's name while still keeping all of their personal belongings, separate and secured. That's how you want to live. That's how you see people move in larger businesses. They're not going around putting all this stuff in their name, because then that puts you at risk. If anything happens, if someone comes and sue you and takes everything you have, then guess what? They're going to take your home too. Whereas if they just do it if you put everything in your business name and use your business credit, then if they sue you, then that goes. Possibly, hopefully that's not going anywhere. Hopefully you can beat the case or settle. But in the worst case scenario event that you do have to pay out or you do lose those things, it's just your business things. Your home is secure, your car is secure, your finances are secure. That's yours. And there's steps to doing the Dun and Bradstreet, just like building up your personal credit. It takes time to build up your business credit, and there's a process to that. First process is you have to have an address. They will check. You will not get a Dun and Bradstreet number for your business if you do not have an address. And if you need a quick address, then USPS, post office box. They will not do a post office box, but you do want to have an address, just an FYI, that's not your home if you're doing a home-based business, because you don't want everyone knowing your personal address. But they will approve if you did like a USPS or a FedEx. The Dun and Bradstreet organization will approve that address. So you definitely want to look into that. It's a little bit more pricey than a USPS box at your local post office, but you don't have the P.O. box in your address. It will literally give you a street address and a suite name, and that suite name is actually your personal box. And you're able to get packages that may not fit into your box. You can have those delivered when you utilize a FedEx or UPS address. When you're using USPS, you cannot get anything you just can't get deliveries. Like if you wanted to get your inventory sent to this particular address, USPS won't allow it. It has to fit into your box. FedEx and UPS, you can get your deliveries there no matter what the size of the box is. That's why it's a little bit pricier, and you get a professional address as well. So this was definitely longer than the 15 minutes. We're at 25 minutes, but I'm still halfway, 50% shorter than what I was last night. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a lot of information. Watch it over and over again and take notes, or you can always, again, reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer your questions, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.